Hello there. In this video, we will be looking at standard 7th grade G4, which is basically asks that you know the circumference formula of a circle, and you use that formula to solve problems involving circles or circular shapes. When we were in class the Friday before we were sent home, you guys measured a bunch of circular items. You measured the circumference of the item, which is the distance around the item. Oops. So basically, C stands for the circumference. It's the perimeter of the circle. And then you also measured the distance across that exact same circle shape. Okay? And we labeled that as the diameter. So the diameter of a circle is from the center, or from the edge, through the center of the circle to the other edge. It's that distance there, okay? And that is the diameter. You need to know these parts of the circle. One other part of the circle that I didn't mention and we didn't deal with in class is the radius. And the radius is just really from the center of the circle to the edge. So it's really it's half of the diameter, okay? Or if you want to think of it as the diameter is 2 radii added together. Okay? So, here's where the formula comes from. You guys in class, you took your measurement for the circumference of the circle, and you divided that by that circle's diameter measurement. And basically, most of the time, you came up with right around 3, a little bit more than 3. And that looks familiar. And that's where you derive or get pi from. So circumference divided by diameter is equal to the value of pi all the time. Well, if we take this equation, we can easily manipulate it with some algebra. We can take both sides, multiply by the diameter, and what ends up happening is you isolate the circumference. So the circumference is equal to pi times the diameter of a circle. So that's where the formula comes from. You can also, though, if you take a look at the parts of the circle, another way to write the formula would be in terms of radius. So if we look over here to this side, the diameter is equal to this radius and this radius added together. So if you want to think about it, the diameter is 2 radii. So we can use that fact, we can substitute it into this equation and write it in terms of radius. Instead of writing circumference equals pi times diameter, we'll write pi times 2 times radius. So depending on the type of problem that you're dealing with, you can use either formula. They really are equal. Okay, so to go ahead and put this formula into use, thought we'd do a couple examples together. Take this example here. Given that the circumference of this circle is 12.56 centimeters, find the radius. Well, I see that in the problem it mentions radius, so I'm going to go ahead and use this formula here. So I'm going to write it out, as you always should. Circumference equals pi 2r. And in this case here, we were given the circumference. It's 12.56 centimeters. So I'm going to substitute C with its value. I'm going to write the units, though, so I don't forget. Pi 2r. Now, in order for you to find out what the radius is, you need to get the radius by itself. In order to do that, you can divide this side by 2 pi and do the exact same thing over here. 2 pi. And what happens is you end up with r on this side. And then over here, you just have a calculation to do. 12.56 centimeters divided by 2 pi, which is 6.28. If you look at it, that comes in handy. It's exactly 2. 2 what? 2 centimeters for the radius. So, for a circle given the circumference 12.56 centimeters, its radius is 2 centimeters. Okay? One other type of problem you might see would be one similar to this. So we'll do one more together, then call it a wrap. Given this circle here, we have a nice, well-drawn, beautiful circle. and its diameter is labeled as 12 centimeters. So given that this circle has a diameter of 12 centimeters, you're being asked to calculate the circumference. So we can go ahead and do that. And we can do that using the circumference formula. I'm going to encourage you always to write the formula first. Circumference equals pi times the diameter. I'm going to use diameter in this case because that's what's given to me in the actual diagram. I'm going to then substitute the values. Well, we don't know what the circumference is. We do know that pi is pi, so leave it as pi. And then we do know that the diameter is 12 centimeters. And if you look at the formula, it basically tells you what to do to find the circumference. It says circumference will equal the pi times 12. And that will give us the answer that we need. If I do the math, 3.14 times 12, 10, it's going to be right around 37.68. So my circumference in this case is, I did the math, it's 37.68, and the units in this case, centimeters, not centimeters squared. Again, these are linear units. If you think about it, we're looking for the distance around the circle. If we cut that distance and lay it out, it's just a line. So it's a linear measurement. It is not square units. Okay? So that is how you can go about using the circumference formula to solve problems involving circles, diameter, and radius. Thank you. Be good.